It's Lady Isis, and I am back with another very, very needed message today. Today's topic is going to be about vibrational terrorism. A lot of times we find ourselves in this unspoken power struggle in social settings, in family dynamics, at work, at school, at the grocery stores or convenience stores, just this unspoken rule book that everybody seems to be playing by. Rather, they are on what seems to be the more dominant side or the more passive side. Okay, there's still a unspoken rule book and power struggle within the encounter. Okay. So, as we dive into the topic of vibrational terrorism, I think it's important that we keep in mind that vibrational terrorism refers to the subtle, invisible energy that can be weaponized to control, manipulate, destabilize someone's emotional, mental, or spiritual state. So, by definition, vibrational terrorism is an intentional or unconscious projection of low frequency energy, such as fear, shame, guilt, envy, or passive aggression. The intent is to suppress you, to harm you, or disrupt your vibration, your clarity, and ultimately your sense of self. Some examples will be energetic sabotage. So, this means when someone is constantly undermining you with backhanded compliments or passive aggressive behavior that keeps you second guessing your worth. Emotional manipulation, using fear, guilt, or shame to control your actions or choices, especially in a family, religious, or romantic dynamic. Groupthink or mass media influence, consistent exposure to fear based narratives or traumatic content that keeps you in a flight or fight state of mind. Spiritual gaslighting. This is a big one. They all really serious, but this is a big one too. Spiritual gaslighting. So that's someone that dismisses your intuitive knowing or spiritual experiences, causing you to doubt yourself and lower your frequency. A lot of times we talk about how the narcissist will gaslight you, but I think we need to explore the depths in which gaslighting could affect you beyond the physical and mental. It could also be psychologically, it could be spiritually. It's a multi-dimensional attack or tactic that is used to lower your frequency, siphon your energy, and ultimately cause you to doubt yourself and what you know to be true. That's truly happening to you, but maybe not being able to find the words to explain it, or the attacker making you feel like what you're experiencing is not real. Why this can be dangerous? For one, it attacks your consciousness subtly, not through overt violence, but through energetic coercion or energetic corrosion. It's psychological warfare cloaked in everyday interactions. Over time, it can drain your life force, okay? Disconnect you from your intuition and lock you into survival mode. Signs that you have experienced vibrational terrorism. You feel drained or anxious after certain interactions with certain people. You begin to question your reality or intuition or yourself ultimately. Your body tenses up, or it may shrink, or you may shrink who you are around certain people or environments. You may even feel like you have to dim your light to stay safe or accepted around certain environments or certain people. So let's go a little deeper into vibrational terrorism as a multidimensional concept so that you could learn what this means fully and learn to identify and neutralize this attack in real life. Okay, so it's almost like tapping into the art of alchemy and using it to transmute, using negative energy, transmuting that negative energy into energy that serves your highest good. So what they would mean for an attack and to terrorize you, ultimately, you could use it for your greater good by recognizing it, empowering that energy, and then using it for your own aura and for your own success. Okay. So the invisible warfare on your consciousness. At the root, vibrational terrorism is a systematic, repeated lowering of an individual's frequency through energetic manipulation, rather through words, body language, tone in which they say what they say. It could be silence, their presence, systems, or environments, with the intent or effect to control you, to silence you, to diminish you, or destabilize your power. It is not always loud and violent. In fact, it thrives in silence, passive aggression, shame inducing environments, and culturally normalized dysfunction. So, in the family dynamic, the matrix family dynamic is what I call it. It will show up as elders guilt tripping your younger members of the family into silence. Almost like you know how a lot of families feel like the younger generations cannot speak up for themselves. It comes off as disrespect. And they use that as a tactic to silence the next generation, to keep them humbled and to keep them under whatever control that they want them under. Okay, a very toxic approach. I believe that elders should be more open-minded for the younger generation so that they can learn from the younger generation, as the younger generation should be able to learn from the elders as well. So silencing them is a very toxic trait. Narcissistic parents enforcing hierarchy through emotional withdrawal or conditional love. So pretty much pulling back the love and support that they give you when you are no longer in alignment with what they want you to be in alignment with, or when you are no longer in alignment with how they see your life going and you're making choices on your own and you've decided to be more autonomous within yourself and govern yourself and do whatever makes you happy. A narcissistic parent will take that as a threat to the hierarchy that they believe in their minds that they have, because they feel like they own you and you're their possessions, versus an individual human being who is capable of making decisions on their own and thinking for themselves, etc., etc. Siblings triangulating or competing under parental conditioning. This will look like a parent or parents that pick and choose which children they want to show up for and which ones they don't. So they may make the golden child feel more important than the other children, to ultimately triangulate all of the children against each other, to build more feelings of resentment, more feelings of guilt, more feelings of jealousy or envy or hatred or rage, or just not a harmonious sibling dynamic because of the triangulating from the parent or guardianship. Cycles of shame being passed down as discipline or tough love. So cycles of shame being passed down as discipline or tough love. So to me, this will look like a situation where the parents or guardian will mask flat out blatant disrespect or dismissive behaviors, passive aggression, just being flat out toxic and disrespectful as discipline, or this is tough love. I'm doing what you need. You need me to treat you like this so that you won't be, soft, or so that you won't be like this or like me, or like, they seemingly try to mask their toxic behaviors in love, as a way of helping you, but it ultimately give you feelings of shame, guilt, depression and things like that. So that lets you know energetically that it's a toxic trait and that it is a vibrational attack. Relationships. So love bombing and then ghosting to disrupt emotional regulation. Withholding affection or validation to create dependency. Gaslighting spiritual gifts or your intuition. Dismissing boundaries as too sensitive. Oh, you're just too sensitive, Oh, that is a psychological, like reverse psychology to get you to let your guards down. Okay. Withholding affection and validation to make you dependent on them emotionally and psychologically for validation. So anytime a person is having to love bomb you, withhold affection from you, gaslight your spiritual gifts, make you question your intuition and dismissing your boundaries, that is a person that is disrespectful. That is a person that, only seeks to manipulate you for your downfall so that you could be totally independent, totally not independent, and totally dependent on them, so that ultimately they could siphon your energy and keep you at a low vibration while they siphon all of the energy that you may even have left. If that makes sense. Religion and spirituality. So preaching fear-based ideologies that demonize natural feminine power. Creating dependence on external saviors instead of activating inner divinity. Okay? So your inner divinity is that God within you. Okay? You are the Holy Trinity. You are the Savior that which you seek on the outside of you. You have that within you. Okay? You are mind, body, and soul. You already are made in the image of God or the gods, because it's more than one. Okay? But source. Okay? Source energy. In religion, they call women Jezebels or temptresses for expressing sacred sexuality or just being feminine all the way around. So religiously and spiritually, this is considered vibrational terrorism to keep the feminine energy suppressed, depressed, stressed, oppressed. Okay? Work in institutions. So micromanaging and surveillance that induces anxiety, that's an attack. Covert racism, classism, or sexism disguised as professional standards, that's an attack. Toxic hierarchies that suppress innovation, voice, and rest. That's an attack. I like to look at it like anytime anybody is taking me out of my peace state of mind, or they are trying to take me out of my peace state of mind, and I'm almost in this mental fog, like confusion. I'm tired all the time. I want to lay down all the time when dealing with them or after talking to them. I know that energetically they are attacking me. They have become a terrorist towards my vibration. And sometimes it's not easy to recognize, because this could be somebody that you're familiar with, that feels familiar to you, that you seemingly have a good communication with, but energetically it's reading something different. It's giving off something different. So it's highly important that we pay attention to how our body is responding when we are done dealing with a person, just got done dealing with the person, or talking to a person, or while you're talking to a person. This is where the art of observation comes into play, when you can observe you, okay, as if you were on the outside of you, but you're in the, but not really. It's just like your state of mind is conscious. You're paying attention to how you're reacting to certain situations, how you're feeling, and what emotions are you able to identify with. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling guilty? And really investigate, why do you feel like you're feeling those feelings? Because chances are they are vibrationally terrorizing you, and you may not even be aware of it. Okay, so social media and mass culture. So algorithms that prioritize trauma, outrage, and comparison. Repetitive exposure to violence and degrad grad excuse me. I ain't gonna be able to block that out, but we just gonna keep it moving. Degradation is the word. Degradation and fear porn, like PORN, okay? Beauty and lifestyle standards that induce inadequacy and disconnection. So a lot of times the algorithm could play its part on our vibration heavily, because it regurgitates and pays attention to and calculates everything that you seem to be interested in, and it gives it to you all day, every day. You are the reason that you're seeing what you're seeing. And because the algorithm is based on you personally and what you are indulging in. So it's important that we're very conscious of what we are indulging in. Um, like me personally, I try to make sure that I'm watching things that has to do with awakening, or furthering my expanding my consciousness, things that keep me thinking. Because I feel like the moment you stop questioning things and stop thinking things and stop wandering, is the day you decide to be a slave again. Because the goal is to be free mentally, free of all mental chains, okay, free of all hierarchies, free of all deceptions and illusions, free of all lies. And how could you do that if you reach a point in your mind where your consciousness is capped at a certain level, and you stop questioning things, and you think that you've arrived to the final destination, when in actuality there is no limit to the expansion of consciousness. We have access to an infinite amount of wisdom and knowledge by way of experience, and questioning things. So we want to make sure that we are aware of what we are indulging in on a day-to-day basis, and also keep in mind that the beauty standards in society will always change. It's important that you are comfortable being exactly who you are and being creative in how you show up in the world and being a unique version of you versus trying to be like everyone else. Because the society standards is always going to change because they have to keep people in a state of mind of searching for things outside of themselves. So that is one of the vibrational terrorist attacks on our sovereignty or on our sense of self and self-love by having the people, the masses, believe that there's a standard that they always have to live up to, otherwise they are not accepted. And that is an illusion. That is a lie. Okay, I'm a living witness. I don't follow anybody's trends. I don't follow anybody's fashion sense. I just wear what I want. I show up how I choose that day. If I want to wear makeup, then I'll wear makeup one day. If I want to go outside in pajamas, I'm gonna go outside in pajamas. If that don't mean I'm going to the store, but I'm just saying I just do what I want to do without worrying about what people think about me. That's the whole point. Once we let go of what people may think about us when we do certain things that's not in the norm of society at that day and time, because it's always changing. Nothing's new under the sun, but it's always changing. So keeping that in mind, that I'm not keeping up with nothing. I'm not keeping up with a trend. If I want to jump on the trend at that moment, then yeah, but I'm not keeping up. I'm not making it my business to keep up with what society tells me a standard is or what success is when I'm not like everybody else. And you're not like everybody else. So just embrace who you are, be who you are uniquely, and people are going to love you just how you decide to show up. Just being you, comfortable in your own skin. Okay, so vibrational terrorism techniques like energetic weapons. Passive aggression. Passive aggression is a calculated tool of vibrational warfare that attacks the psyche indirectly. Okay, so if you are a person that, well, you should be, okay? If you are a sovereign being, okay, and you are connected to other sovereign beings, beings are very calculated in a sense and very direct. So if you're dealing with a person who is aggressive towards you in a passive way, to create an illusion like they are not attacking you, but you can feel it energetically, it just feel off, then take it for what you feel and not for what they want you to perceive it to be. Emotional neglect. That is non-responsiveness to your path or to your pain, can be as damaging as verbal abuse. So emotional neglect. Okay. So this could be for the people that has dealt with an emotionally unavailable parent in particular. Non-responsiveness to your pain can be as damaging as verbal abuse. And I believe it could be just as damaging as psychological abuse, because all abuse affects your psyche and how you develop psychologically. Okay. Silent treatment, a form of control that punishes energetically while appearing innocent. So, what this may look like is a person ignoring you when you know that they may be available to respond to you, or in person, you talking to them and they just walk past you like they don't hear you. Or it could be emotional silent treatment where they know you need them emotionally, but they purposely choose not to be available for you emotionally. Now, I'm not speaking about a person who is purposely trying to emotionally manipulate you to energy siphon from you. I'm specifically talking about a person choosing to punish you, to control you with the silent treatment. not you separating or removing yourself from a toxic person, and they may perceive you as giving them the silent treatment, but really you're probably isolating yourself in hermit mode to protect yourself. Okay, so that's two different types of silent treatments. I'm talking about the one that seeks to control and punish another person for not doing something that they wanted them to do. Projection. I speak a lot about projection because I know the power of projection. If you are a person who is not mentally strong enough or mentally aware enough to recognize when a person is projecting their shadows onto you to cause you mental confusion and distortions. So, projection is when someone dumps their unhealed pain on you as if it were yours. A lot of times as children, our toxic family dynamics will project their demons, quote unquote, or their shadows, or, just their unhealed pains and traumas onto the child unconsciously or consciously. Okay. Some of them are fully aware of what they're doing, but they feel like they've had to overcome that. They've had to deal with that as a child. They don't know any different. So then they pass it on to you. And there's the generational curse in real time. Okay. So it's important that we're recognizing when a person is projecting onto us or when a person is giving us true constructive criticism in a sense. Okay, just learning to decipher the two and learning when to accept what someone um projects onto you or what someone is giving you sound advice that could help empower you to become a better version of yourself. If they're projecting onto you and you feel less and worse than you did before you got into their presence, then chances are they are a terrorist, a vibrational terrorist, and they are seeking to energy siphon from you and to keep your vibrations low, to keep you from evolving. So we have false light masking. So this is pretending to be spiritual, loving, or supportive while energetically siphoning your power. So we got to be careful with these so-called conscious leaders and gurus who seem to talk the spiritual talk, but really don't walk the spiritual walk. Okay, really haven't been initiated spiritually in no way, shape, or form. They just been physically initiated into some type of spiritual group, okay, and have no experience, no true awakening, and no wisdom by way of experience. So we want to be able to recognize when a person is wearing a false light mask, because if we don't, that person will be able to talk that talk to you and get you drawn into what they're saying, and you're totally blindsided by what they appear to be and seem to be, and then they're able to um vibrationally terrorize you in a sense, or get you to um become very vulnerable and open for terrorist attacks and energy siphoning. Okay. So energetic guilt tripping is next on the list, and that is making you feel responsible for someone else's emotions or journey. So energy guilt tripping, making you feel responsible for someone else's emotions. This to me works hand in hand with projection. Okay. A lot of times you may be a operating from your sense of your like a wounded empath who's not aware that they're an empath and not aware that they are able to feel other people's emotions and energies and things like that, and you perceive it as your own, and then you become overstimulated. Your nervous system is overworking itself trying to stabilize the energy that's coming at an alarming rate, a rapid rate, into your aura field or your Taurus field. Okay. A lot of times it's not even your energy. A lot of times it's because someone projected their negative and dense energy onto you, and you are the ones that's left with trying to transmute this energy that you don't know anything about transmuting it, or how to transmute it, or how to deal with it, because you are in a wounded state of consciousness. So, or a wounded state of vibrationally, you are in a wounded state. Okay. So just being aware of certain thoughts that may come to mind around certain people, or putting that boundary up to keep your energy and emotional state safe from those who seek to use guilt and projection to control you and energy siphon from you. Okay. Now you may question, why do people do this? Why do they use this as a tactic? And I would say because they sense, consciously or unconsciously, your power, your light, your truth, your authenticity, okay? Your high vibrations, okay? As a high vibrational being that's still trying to, even in your low vibrational state, you are still vibrating higher than most people around you. Let that sink in. Even when you thought you were at your lowest, it was still out of reach for a lot of people that you came in contact with on a day-to-day basis in your family dynamic. Otherwise, why would they attack you? If they are a person that is on your level, consciously, energetically, vibrationally, why would they attack you? Because they know that they are not a high vibrational being like you are, and they don't have as much light like you do. They don't have the power or the truth to walk in their own power. So they choose to try to tear you down. Okay. So they must lower your frequency first. Once the frequency drops, access to intuition, discernment, and divine power weakens. Then they could manipulate you to do what it is that they wanted you to do all along, and ultimately energy siphon. In some cases, the goal be it's just to destiny swap. Okay, they want to be you. So vibrational sovereignty is indeed the cure. Okay, so if you are a vibrational sovereign being, what that looks like psychologically is you are the leader of your life. You are walking in your power and trusting your intuition. You are no longer bound by somebody else's control. You are no longer a slave to someone else's hierarchy or manipulations. You are full of who you truly are, and you are fully expressing who you truly are unapologetically and authentically. Okay. You are the chief. Okay. The superior. You're operating from a space of unconditional love. Okay. You are self determining. You are autonomous. You are self governing. You are not easy to control anymore. In fact, you are uncontrollable. That is when you have now decided to take all of your power back and operate from the space of sovereignty, which is your birthright, which is the natural way that life should be for each individual. Okay. But society has governments and societies that most people fall victim to because they don't know how to escape the matrix. They don't know how to escape the false matrix that tells them who they are instead of them questioning who they are. Okay. So you have become society's worst nightmare at that point. Once you start to govern yourself, govern your mind, once you become fully aware, you're able to read energy. Okay. You're able to think for yourself. You're able to question things. You're able to dive deep. You're connected back to source. You have become a problem in that sense. Okay. So to combat vibrational terrorism, we must master energetic boundaries, not just physical, but emotional, mental, digital, spiritual, and psychologically. We must recognize that the frequency of a room or a person before even entering it. So that means pay attention to what your body is telling you. Pay attention to what you're feeling. Pay attention to the butterflies that you may feel in your stomach that we have been told that butterflies mean to proceed when actually it means caution. Be cautious. If you start to feel anything in your gut, be cautious and aware and investigate it. Why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel like I really want to go to this party, to this house, to this job, to this place? It's because that's probably where you shouldn't be. It's probably your intuition is telling you this is not in alignment with who you are. Okay. Detach from systems that feed off of our trauma loops. So once you discover what the trauma is, and once you discover the loops that you have been repeating over and over and over, these cycles, it's important that you now detach from people, places, and things that will trigger you back into that toxic loop cycle. So this is where the journey seems to get lonely, because now you're detaching from all people, places, and things that you once knew. And it's not that you're lonely, even though it may feel lonely and it may look lonely. This is who you were supposed to be all along in your individualism. Okay. In your own energy, utilizing your own energy and manifesting like the God that you were born to do and be. Okay. So that is why it feels lonely, because society teaches us and thrives on codependency. So when you are thriving on codependency and you finally detach from that codependent energy, you start to feel feelings of loneliness. And that is normal when you are coming out of that toxic loop cycle of codependency and trauma and abuse and mental slavery. Okay. It's natural. Just continue to move forward on your journey and sit with yourself, meditate, continue to question things, and continue to choose you, no matter who doesn't like it and who it makes uncomfortable. Because keep in mind that the average person questions nothing, and they're not conscious at all, and they are matrix agents. So they are programmed to try to get you out of your sovereignty when they notice that you have moved out of that mass and collective hive mind codependent thinking. Okay. It's important that you practice rituals that cleanse, elevate, and protect your frequency. So, whatever tools that may look like for you, that may be candle magic for you, that may be wearing certain jewelry or certain crystals for you, that may be doing certain cleanses, saging, spiritual baths, smudges, whatever that may look like for you to keep your frequency high and to remind you in this 3D realm of the spiritual war that you are in and the psychological war that we are in actively, and to keep your third eye clear so that you are able to recognize in real time the attacks of the vibrational terrorists who are seeking to lower your vibration. Okay. And to keep you at a balance. Okay. To keep you at a balance and to keep you from running from your shadows and embracing, and instead embracing your shadows, to make sure that you are balancing your energy out from the inside out. Okay. That's what the true power is. The only way out of this matrix is in. You are the initiate. You are the initiate from the inside out. You must go in and heal yourself, okay? Reclaim the voice and power that was silenced. Now it's time for you to activate that throat chakra and use your voice to express how you truly feel. Talk about your experiences, how you overcame these experiences. Okay? A lot of times we're silenced as children because our matrix family dynamic does not resonate with truth, does not resonate with divine power and light and dealing in the shadows and healing. So they silence you because they're afraid of you ultimately. So now it's time to reclaim that voice, your power, and never be silent again. So the final truth here is vibrational terrorism is an ancient form of warfare designed to keep divine beings disconnected from their source and enslaved, disconnected from their source and enslaved to the matrix. But once you see it, you can no longer unsee it. And that awareness alone being begins to collapse its power. So it no longer has power over you. Okay. That's it for today. I will be back with another message. Let me know how you feel about this, if you have experienced this, and if you would like to know more tips on how to deal with vibrational terrorism in real time so that you can continue to walk the path of sovereignty and reclaim your power unapologetically and be your authentic self, okay? As a abolitionist to all forms of slavery, I seek and I teach the path of true sovereignty. Okay. It's Lady Isis. That's all I have for today. Shout out to the Sovereign Connect family. And I will be back very soon. Ashe and Ashe.